Welcome back to another episode of All Things Everything presented by Gulf Coast Smoke. My name is Alonzo.
And I'm Sabrina.
And this is episode 65.
65.
This is episode 65. How has your week been so far?
It's been a good week, a long week, and ready to get into the podcast.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's been a weird few days. So last night it stormed. Well, I guess that would be today technically,
well, and it's
right?
weird too because I always just check the weather just to see if it will rain, right? And we showed no rain in the forecast. So this was in the past 2 nights it's done this.
Yeah. So technically it would have been today, but at 3 a.m. it started storming pretty bad.
Yeah.
And so it made it really hard to sleep through it for sure. And man, I wake up at 5:15 for work, and man, I was up from around 3:15 in and out of sleep up until my alarm went off. And I went into work a little bit early today. I had to do some stuff, and I feel really tired right now. Of course, I'm always excited to get onto the podcast and just kind of talk about barbecue and talk about our day, but I can be completely honest with you and say that I just feel drained from the past couple of days.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been trying to golf a lot more, which we'll get into that just a little bit in the episode today. But man, yeah, it's been a tiring week so far for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing you get up for work because I had already been up, and then one by one, each of the kids was waking up in between the storm and couldn't go back to sleep. And even the previous night, there was a little bit of rain and lots of wind.
Yeah.
So yeah, just the past couple nights, and right now it's sunny outside.
Yeah,
you would never even know.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, the weather's weird. I expect the mosquitoes to unfortunately get pretty bad here pretty soon. But we did want to start out the episode today with talking about something that recently happened. And that was the Texas Monthly Top 50 Barbecue list that came out. And Sabrina and I, well, I'll say that I was, but Sabrina can kind of tell you how she feels about it. I personally was so happy that Burnt Bean is the #1 barbecue spot in Texas. And the reason is because for years, Sabrina and I have been eating there, and for years we have done nothing but rave about them. And it is just really, really cool that the list comes out and it also validates that for sure, because I do feel like their barbecue is just some of the best, if not, I mean, it's the best I've ever had. It's just so delicious. Everything, the brisket, the ribs, the dishes that they have that they make for Sunday breakfast, the pork chop that we had at the CBA banquet, they have never put anything in front of me where I'm like, man, that really wasn't that good. Never, not even once. And I wanted to talk about this a little bit as well. So I'm friends with somebody on Facebook, and they had put a little joke up, right, about the list coming out in a couple of days. And it was basically something along the lines of the true winners of Texas are H-E-B, Buc-ee's, and Rudy's, and just the places that are really, really typical where you go find barbecue. And I asked him on the post, I said, I've heard this list is a little political. What do you think? What are your thoughts on it? And so he, of course, went and he was like, yeah, I do think it's political because of these reasons or whatever. And then I had somebody else who has a restaurant, and they came in and said, yeah, it's definitely political. And then I went in and, kind of had some conversations back and forth. And I made sure to preface it by saying, man, I'm sure it would be hard to pick the absolute best spots in Texas. I feel like it's almost impossible to go to every single one. And I didn't say this in the comments, right? But I'm just saying this. I feel like it's impossible to go to every single one. And I feel like maybe you catch somebody on a bad day, or maybe you catch them on a day that they're not even open and you're not able to try it or something. And then Daniel Vaughn actually came in the comments, and he's the Texas Monthly guy. He's the guy that chooses the top 50. And he straight up asked me, he was like, what's political about the list? And I was like, well, first and foremost, I'm not saying it's political. I was asking if he feels it's political because of what I've heard. And he's like, yeah, but I want to know what's political about this list. And I said, well, or he asked me what would my definition of political be. And I said, well, my definition of it would be, even if you yourself, Daniel Vaughn, right, that's his name, even if you yourself loved restaurant A, but, if you had people behind you saying, no, restaurant B is better, then that would be political. They would be kind of pushing you in a direction, right? And I definitely feel like he cleared that up, and he did a great job of clearing that up. He basically told me straight up, he was like, hey, if I like something, I'm going to give it praise. If I do not like something, I am not going to give it praise. And that's it. End of story. So I think that was really cool for him to actually come in and clarify how he does things and clarify how this list comes about. So I don't pretend to know all of the logistics to it, but I really like that he came in there and he actually kind of defended himself a little bit, right? He was like, no, it's not a political list. It's plain and dry. It is black and white. And I appreciate that. And I like that. And I love having the conversation. I actually invited him on the podcast, but I didn't get a response. So it is what it is. But man, I think that topics like this are really, really fun to have the conversation for. And that's why I originally asked the question. I'm here to say, political or not, the list, I love it. Burnt beans number 1. That's my favorite joint of all time, right? My friend, Barbecue Fiends, Sebastian Quintanilla, congratulations. He is on the top 100 list. So they do a top 50 and then they do an honorable mention, which is basically 51 to 100. Sebastian's in there, and I'm proud of him for that, right? We know that our other friend, Andrew Pena and Desiree Hill, they're going to be on that list the next time it comes out. Full Send Barbecue in Corpus Christi, Texas. Amazing food. It just didn't work out for them this time, but I truly believe that they're going to be on that list. And so I'm very happy with the list. So political or not, man, the place that I've been saying that I love the most, main number 1. So maybe me and Daniel Vaughn have the same exact taste buds. It's the same as you as well. So I'm happy that Burnt Bean. I've never met Ernest and I've never met Dave. Well, I have met Ernest, but we've talked at the restaurant. You've kind of seen it, but the thing is, I don't think Ernest knows who we are. I don't think he knows what we do. I don't want him to, and I don't expect him to. But the interactions that I've had with him at his restaurant, they're genuine. They're amazing. Like I was talking to him when Bill originally dropped his chicken brine. Remember that? And I was talking to him about competition barbecue just over the counter. And he's like, oh, yeah, Bill dropped a new brine, right? And I was like, yeah, game over, man. Game over. So we kind of had that. And then I told him straight up after we ate, the very first time we ever ate there, which we always do this, we go and we order everything. And I went up to him afterwards and I was like, hey, bro, best barbecue I've ever had in my life. And I just wanted to tell him that because I was genuinely impressed with everything that they did, down to the desserts, to their what is
banana pudding?
Yeah, but there was something else I feel like you liked, or did I get a cake or something like that?
Yeah, you got a cake. Mm-hmm.
Just everything about it is so good. I have nothing but amazing things to say about Burnt Bean, and we have not hit all of the top 10 spots. We have hit a few of them, and I can tell you that Burnt Bean remains my favorite. And I just think what they're doing over there is incredible. Congratulations to Burnt Bean. And I'm very, very excited for them because as a fan of barbecue, as a fan of somebody who loves this, I couldn't be happier that somebody and a restaurant that just, it's so amazing to me, is getting that recognition. So congratulations to them. In my opinion, very, very, very well deserved.
Yeah, so my thing, when it comes to this list, I can understand where people might think like, okay, it's political, right? Because when you have a lot of these bigger names of barbecue restaurants that make it every single year, yeah, maybe you're starting to get it in your head that, okay, there could be something political about this. Now, that being said, I mean, I think it's really cool that Daniel actually went on there and defended himself, because it's almost like for us saying that, for example, Killer Hogs is like the best barbecue sauce. We love it. And we swear by it, right?
Yeah.
And someone could say, oh, well, that's a very political thing. You're sponsored by them, right? So I think it's very, which for us in the case, we really, truly do love their sauces, and we've always loved their products.
Yeah.
So I think it's really easy to
fall into that.
Right. And to get that idea in your head and kind of label it a political thing.
Yeah.
When the reality is, I mean, Daniel Vaughn
that's what he likes.
He's his own person.
That's what he likes and what he doesn't like.
And the thing is it's the same thing with the barbecue competition. When we go out there, there's going to be competitions where we go to and people absolutely hate our food. Then there's going to be some we go to and they think it's the best thing ever.
For sure.
It just depends on the day, the time, and the place, right? Yep. And so I think that's the same thing for him. There's a lot of places, and we've talked about this in the recent top 50 list, where you've tried them and it's like, and you've brought the food home to me and we're both like, man, this was not it for us, you know? And
now I'm going to preface that by saying it's not bad food at all. It's just there's a little bit of flavor there that we don't like, or there's something that we prefer, a more sweet rib or whatever. So I will say this. Everywhere that we've had, I've never taken a bite of something and been like, this is absolutely disgusting, I'm going to throw it up. Nothing like that. So, but we are just trying to be honest with you, right? There's nothing that's been like that bad, but there's been things that are not for us. And that's kind of what Sabrina's trying to say, I think.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest. There's things that I've very, very much disliked, especially when it comes to sides, because to me, when I think about a barbecue experience, it has to include everything, because otherwise for me, I mean, that's a deal breaker. I don't want to go back to a place where like I can't even get a side for the kids to eat as well if they don't want to eat too many proteins.
Sure.
And I really am a sides person. I enjoy sides, and I think that's where it's kind of like going to Chili's, for example, and then you're getting Kraft macaroni and cheese. I don't know what's scratch made at Chili's, probably nothing. But it's like going to Chili's, and yeah, maybe they're frying those chicken tenders, but then you got Kraft macaroni on the side, right? It's like, if you can't even make your own sides, that does not impress me. Now, don't think this applies to everybody else, but me personally, that says a lot about how you are as a chef, right? And that's why I really respect places like Burnt Bean with Ernest, and places like Terry Black's, where you can tell these are scratch-made sides, and they're very, very good. And I think it shows the level of expertise you have in the kitchen, right? So, yeah, there's places that we've tried that just not that they were terrible. There's, like I said, things that I really didn't care for, but it's when you have these rankings, right, on this top 50, you want to understand why they're ranked that way. So then you try a place, and it's like, man, okay, I could have understood this being the 50th place, but not in the, 10, 11, 12. You know what I mean? And I'm just throwing out numbers here. And so I also didn't realize that this list is made every 4 years.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess I was under the impression somehow that it was every year. But no, it's every 4 years. So you think about that. That's a 4-year gap where, people are possibly coming to try your food. And there's going to be days where it was maybe not the consistent kind of food that you're putting out. I mean, shoot, when we went to Terry Black's, you could see they saw we were filming. They're like, ooh, we want to make sure they get the good stuff, right? And we went, and everything was immaculate. It was so good. I don't think they made the list, but that also just goes to show that just because this list is there and it's created does not mean that the places that aren't on it aren't still very, very good or high quality. Now, also, I will say, I think going into that list, and I don't know for sure here, but I think a lot of things go into play, not just a good tasting brisket or a good tasting ribs. I think the overall environment of your restaurant takes a big role. And maybe even like the hours that you're open. There's some barbecue spots that are very limited hours, and there's some that are open throughout the week. And I think for me, as somebody going to a restaurant, those things come into play because it's, like I said, a whole experience.
No, I definitely agree with everything that you said. And I think that we kind of talked about this a little bit. Some of these places that are really high on the list, man, they also have a really, really good dining experience. And it also makes for just an overall great experience. So who knows what actually went into the reasoning behind, besides it's just something that Daniel himself liked. And when it comes to that, you just have to respect it. It's like, for example, when we went over to Terry Black's in Dallas, there was a few comments, I think, that people didn't really care for Terry Black's. We liked it. And we've talked about it multiple times since then, how much we did enjoy that meal and how much we did enjoy Terry Black's. Like, if we were back in Dallas, I would go back over there 100%. Now, would I do it the next time we went to Dallas? Probably not. I would probably be more inclined to go to like Goldie's or Hurtado or something that
new.
Yeah, something that we haven't gone to. But overall, I definitely think that, it's one of those things where, man, it was a great experience. And that was our experience. It's not going to be the same for everybody. And some people are going to think, it's too salty, it's too peppery, too sweet, not sweet enough. Everybody's just got different taste buds. That's why I think it's really, really cool to see Burnt Bean up there, because that means that, I don't, well, a lot of people were really happy about Burnt Bean being up there because it is that great.
Well, and yeah, that's it. Now, if multiple things are going in besides just the taste, I don't take that as a political reason. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that because, like I said, for me, if I was the one creating this list, I'm thinking of an overall dining experience. I'm thinking about those sides, everything, right? So that's why I think Burnt Bean is like one of the like most perfect restaurants that you could put number one because they have good proteins.
Yeah.
They have good sides and desserts. I mean, they have their breakfast menu, which is completely different
and
than
the
their
restaurant
main barbecue.
is nice.
Right. Oh, it's an amazing dining experience.
And also it's just in a great area.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
it's downtown Seguin, really, really great vibes. You walk in, it's really, really high ceilings.
Yeah.
It's just a different experience. Well, I don't want to say different, but man, it's just very, very, very nice to go in there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, when you, like here in South Texas, a lot of times when you find a barbecue joint, it's really like hole-in-the-wall type of place, right? Yeah. So I think you grow up thinking like that's normal. Everything's going to be outside. But with this, when like Terry Black's and with Burnt Bean, you go to these places that have really nice indoor facilities, restaurants with nice tables, a whole dining experience. And for me, like I said, like those things, I understand they have nothing to do with the actual proteins in the food being cooked, but it is a really cool dining experience. And if you're going to, the thing with this list is it's going to drive people, even Burnt Bean. People are already going to Burnt Bean and waiting in line, but that's going to drive even more business towards it, right? Yeah. So, and then you have people out of state who pay attention to this list, who come to Texas for a unique barbecue experience, who are really going to pay attention to this list. So I think when you're deciding who's on it, I think those things should come into play because, you're going to drive business and people to Texas. If a lot of them aren't in Texas, they're going to drive people to Texas to come try these places. So I do think it matters. And at the end of the day, though, it's going to make some people think that it is political.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like you said, I think it's really cool that Daniel came to his own defense, just basically explained why and how he makes these decisions. And I think that stands for everything, right? That's all that you can really take, and you have to respect that. And that's all there is to it. A shout out to Pinkertons. He hit the top 50 as well. I got the shirt on right now. Come and eat it. Glaze the world. We are very excited to say that we should be hitting that place up very soon. We're going to be hitting up GW's very soon, which is now number 5 in Texas. And Grant Pinkerton, actually owner of Pinkertons, we're going to be hitting up La Vaca very soon as well. So we plan on doing a few more of these videos where we go and eat barbecue around the state and just really enjoy our time together with friends, with family, and just kind of continue to do this. We really enjoy these types of videos because, we get to eat really good food. Yeah. And then we get to invite some friends and hang out with them and stuff. So it's just going to be a lot of fun. But congratulations to everybody who made that top 50 list. And I'm very, very, very happy that Burnt Bean is number 1 in Texas.
Yeah, and if you did not make it on that list and you're trying to, do not give up because like we talked about with like the American Royal Best Rub on the Planet, even though I don't think that's like the same thing. I think this 50 list is like huge. But I mean, hospitality, we put it in several years in a row. Yeah, and didn't get the results.
This was our third year in a row putting it in, and it's always done well, but this time it got a perfect score.
Right. So don't give up. I mean, don't let that stop you. Don't let that make you think in your head that your food isn't good enough. Keep going, keep putting stuff out there, and don't stop trying to reach your goals if that list is part of your goal as a restaurant.
No, 100%. I agree with you on that one. And so enough about the top 50 list, although that's huge in barbecue right now. Another thing that we wanted to talk about, or a few things that we wanted to talk about, are some of the recipes that we released this week. So we did a Steakhouse turkey breast. So first and foremost, explain to the people what I did with this Steakhouse turkey breast. And then I also want you to explain how you liked it, or if you liked it at all.
Yeah, so Steakhouse turkey breast, the idea of this was, first of all, I think it was inspired by, they have an A1 butter. So it's a butter infused with like A1 and all of those Steakhouse flavors, right?
Yeah, so it had A1 sauce in it, but it also had like garlic, thyme, parsley, like a bunch of that stuff that you would see in a compound butter as well.
Right, to finish off your steak with.
Yep.
And so then the idea kind of popped into your head that, okay, let's use A1 as a binder. Let's use a steak seasoning. Because we normally, anytime we make a smoked turkey breast like this, it's going to rest and finish carryover cooking in that butter. So how perfect to have this A1 butter
Yeah.
to finish it off, right? So we used A1 as a binder. We used the bold. What is it? Bold and spicy or bold and savory?
Bold and spicy, yes.
Bold and
so it has
spicy.
like Tabasco in it as well.
Right, a little extra flavor. Use that as a binder. We did a layer of that base, and then we did a layer of Killer Hog's steak rub.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I loved was in the reel, you can see this. I mean, the bark, so to speak, on that was just
there's
crazy.
So much. Yeah, there's so much texture on it, and that's so. Again, I was thinking in my head, okay, how can I get that crunch from a steak, right? And how can I get those steakhouse flavors on a turkey breast with it, of course, still tasting like smoked turkey, which you know this better than anybody. This has been one of my favorite proteins as of recent history. Like I want to cook it all the time. All the time. I just love it. I can't even explain how and why I love smoked turkey breast so much, but we've been making it a lot. And I already have an idea for the next one, which I want to do this weekend and maybe release next week or the week after, but I've already got another idea for a different turkey breast that I want to do. And one of the things I was noticing in the comments, people are like, you got to brine it, you got to brine it, you got to do this, you got to do that. So part of this, I don't even want to call it a series, but part of me making turkey breasts at home is quite literally just doing them different ways.
Right.
We've brined them and injected them. We've done no brine, we've done no inject, just the same exact way we did this last one, but we always somehow, some way make a really good flavorful turkey breast. And I think that that's the goal. So it's not always going to be a brined one or an injected one or a no brined one. We're going to just continue to do different things. Now, the cool thing about it was I can tell you, and I'm being completely honest, this was unlike any other turkey breast that we've ever made. Because we always have like a little bit of sweetness or a little bit of something there, but this one was just so savory. It had a little bit of spice. I'm not sure if it was from the butter or from the binder, but there was definitely a little bit of spice there. It wasn't a lot of spice, but there was a little kick there. It just made for such an incredible bite.
And A1 has that kind of like very unique, almost umami flavor.
It's like a little tart. It's a little...
a twang, like in a good way. Like I said, it's a unique flavor, and that really translated through.
Yeah,
like, as if you were eating a steak with A1 sauce.
For sure. And I mean, we got roasted a little bit on some for, using A1 in general. We figured that was going to happen. A lot of people don't like A1. I like A1. I think A1 is good. I really do. We like to throw it in some beans sometimes. There's a lot of ways to use it, right? But either way, I definitely think that it was one of the better turkey breasts that we've made, and I think that the flavor was so different from anything else we've ever done. If I had to recommend 2 of our turkey breast recipes to try, it would be the trifecta injected, and then it would be the Steakhouse. If you want to brine, if you want to inject this one as well, that's fine. But man, try those Steakhouse flavors out. They really were so good. And then one of the other things I had somebody ask was, man, if I can't find the A1 butter, what do I do? Man, I would make a compound butter.
Yeah, for sure.
Like garlic, parsley, thyme, just those flavors that you're going to get on any Steakhouse butter. And I really think you're going to be okay.
Yeah. We're going to come out with a cookbook, 101 Ways to Smoke a Turkey Breast.
Something, right?
I'm calling it now.
I had somebody commented, like, dude, you're the turkey breast king or the turkey breast something. Because we just make so many turkey breasts. And I'm telling you, we ate it that day. The whole family ate it at mom and dad's house. Yeah. And then I took it to lunch, and we had brisket and turkey left over, and I'm eating mostly turkey while everyone else is devouring brisket.
Yeah.
I just love it. I just love it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you definitely are the turkey king, I think. If we ever...
Well, maybe not the turkey king, but I am the king of wanting to eat turkey. Yeah. So that's why we eat a lot of turkey. I'm not claiming to cook it the best, but I do love to cook it, and I love to eat it.
Speaking of the king of things, brisket is king in Texas. So that brings us to our long form video of the week, which was a Texas style brisket. So what do you think of, when you think of a Texas style brisket? Because I'm thinking in my head of some of these places on that top 50 list, right?
Sure.
And I think the core things are going to be salt and pepper, but I feel like other things are added to it as well.
No, I definitely think these days it's not just salt and pepper for some of these places, but we decided that we wanted to do something a little traditional. So we just used a Killer Hog's TX rub on a brisket, and we smoked it for a long time on an Outlaw stick burner. Now, our thought process with this was, okay, We've cooked briskets so many different ways on the channel. We've done competition briskets where we're injecting them, we're saucing them, we're adding finishing powder, and a lot of people, they hate to see that, right?
Yeah.
And we even have a lot of people in comments elsewhere, man, cook a backyard brisket, cook a salt and pepper brisket, or just whatever. And man, I mean, we feel confident that we can do that too. So we really just kind of wanted to do that. We wanted to have a little bit of fun with it. So heavy salt, heavy pepper, onion, garlic, a few extra things there in that TX rub, but it's just such a good rub. Yeah. So we decided to go heavy with it, and then, man, we just threw it on an Outlaw. 300 degrees, 8 hours and 30 minutes, about 8 hours and 30 minutes, and it was done. And, man, it's brisket is, I do not want to say it's an easy cook, but I will say that I think the hardest part about brisket is, well, there's two hard things about brisket. Knowing when it's done and being patient enough to let it get there, right? So we talk about this a lot, and I tell people that, man, I think that if you let your brisket get cooked enough and you let it render enough fat, man, it's going to be a good brisket. It really will. But if you're not willing to give yourself 14 hours, 16 hours to do it, you're not going to have a good product. We were willing to cook it that long. We were ready to cook it that long. It just didn't take that long.
Well, and I think everybody has this assumption that if you smoke a brisket, it's going to take at least 14 or 16 hours, which the reality is, I mean, most briskets we cook these days, even if it's not competition, they don't
8 hours, 9 hours.
They don't take that long. It's 300 degrees on any smoker.
Yeah. And another thing is, I think when people are talking about a 14 or a 16-hour brisket, I think, I might be lying, but I think they're also calculating a rest time in there. Right? And we do that as well. So I've told you this before, and I think I might have said it on the podcast, or might have not. I don't know. But, man, I like to calculate 24 hours for a brisket. So if I know that, hey, I need to serve this tomorrow at 6 p.m., 6 p.m. the night before, I want to start trimming. I want to start getting ready for this cook, and then I'll throw it on by 8 o'clock, and then, we smoke it till it's done, and then we'll rest it till it's time to cook. Yeah. And that long rest really does make for such a good bite. It allows all of those juices to redistribute into the brisket. That fat just becomes like a gelatin, and it becomes a part of the experience, a part of the brisket. It just has such a good flavor, and it's almost, I was actually watching a video on GW's today, and he talked about it too. It's a little bit sticky.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It's a little bit sweet in a weird way, and it just adds to the experience of the brisket. So, man, I think it was a great video, and I think it's informative on how simple brisket is. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying that it is simple. Man, maintain temperatures, that is huge. Putting a good seasoning on there, that is huge. And then just making sure that it's done.
Yeah, spritz when needed.
Spritz when needed. We used water and Worcestershire sauce. We used a 4-to-1 blend. 4 being water, 1 being Worcestershire sauce. And man, we sprayed it when it looked dry, and we made some adjustments in the cook. There was a little bit of pooling there. You can see what I did in the video. And overall, it just turned out to be such a great brisket. It really did.
Yeah, and I think brisket's one of those things where you feel like you have to go to a restaurant to get good brisket. And when you start making it well at home, you realize just like how easy it is once you get it right. And I think the best way to start is on a pellet smoker. So use the same guideline that we're giving you on a pellet smoker because you're not managing a fire, and then kind of graduate to some sort of smoker. Yeah. And then, but same process, right? Yeah. So doing it on a pellet smoker is going to be like your the gateway into those higher level smokers. But yeah, as long as you know, like, when is the fat rendered, when should I wrap, and when is it going to be done? Those are really the main things. And I think the really cool thing about our overhead shots, we had some overhead shots this time around, which I think we're really trying to implement more. Yeah. The really cool thing is at the end of that, of slicing it, you can really see the difference in how you're supposed to cut these two different muscles, because they're two different muscles overlapping, right? So the grain's going to be running two different ways. And I think that's a good way to show people who maybe aren't very, I don't want to say good, but don't have enough experience slicing briskets.
Sure. Yeah, and I think that the thing with brisket, it is very intimidating.
Yeah.
Right? It is very intimidating because you can see in the video, we spent $101 on this big old brisket.
Right.
And the last thing that you want to do is mess it up. I'm just being honest. You don't want to mess it up, right? But, well, I don't want to say it like that, but I mean, like, you have to fail in order to succeed a little bit, right?
Right.
Now, would I start with a prime $100 brisket if it's your first one ever? Probably not, but I still think you can follow the same guidelines. So Fred Robles, actually, I saw him comment on a post on Facebook today or yesterday, and he made a really, really good point because somebody asked, can I win with a prime brisket in a CBA competition? And Fred said, yes, you absolutely can. Your window for failure just becomes larger the better grade you have.
Right.
So if you have a Wagyu brisket, man, you can kind of push it a little bit further on accident and it's still going to be good.
Right.
A prime, that lessens a little bit. A choice, it lessens more. A select, it lessens even more. Mm-hmm. It does not mean that you cannot have a good product, though. And I think that that's something that you just have to cook briskets to understand. Now, the other thing I will say is, I'm on the, I don't want to say on the opposite end of you, but I will say this. I think that there's some magic when somebody's cooking on 1,000-gallon smoker and there's briskets laid all the way out. I think that moisture in the chamber, like, I don't think I'm ever going to cook a brisket that's as good as the one from Burnt Bean. Just being honest, right? Because I think, like, them having all of those briskets lined across, that moisture in the chamber, it's going to make for a magnificent bite in the end. So I will say that, and that's not to just argue. It's just because, like, you know what I'm saying?
No, well, and what I'm not saying that you can go home and make a better brisket than Burnt Bean or Terry Black's or whatever. I'm saying that you can.
I cannot do that.
I won't name the types of restaurant, but there are some like fast food style barbecue restaurants that are popular in our area because we don't have a lot of barbecue like big name barbecue spots like in Austin or Dallas or Houston, right?
Sure.
So like in South Texas where we're at, there's going to be those places that are the baseline for a lot of people, kind of like with the steak. People think that like Texas Roadhouse is going to be your baseline for a steak, when the reality is you can cook a pretty darn good one at home. But that doesn't mean that steak's going to be like better than the best, most expensive steakhouse in the world, right?
Yeah.
But you can make a baseline very good brisket at home if you put enough work into learning how to do it. But yeah, you're right. There is something very, very special about, because with us, we're going to cook a brisket for comp a lot, but for the backyard, only every once in a while. Yeah. They're cooking briskets every single day. There's a lot of consistency in that. And you're right. There is like a magic that happens when they're all there together. So yeah, that's a completely different brisket, but you can make a very decent brisket, better than those kind of
fast foodie
spots that are in our area. Yeah.
No, I think that's a pretty good take, and I think that you should, feel confident making a brisket and man, give it to your friends, give it to your family, and watch them enjoy. That's part of the whole process of barbecue, is the outcome, right? So it's a labor of love, and then you get to feed people your food, and they love it, and man, it feels good, right? That's part of it. Cooking good food for people is an act of love, and man, make you a good brisket. So watch that video. Let us know what you guys thought for sure. And I definitely think that there was some really, really good tips in there. We used foil. I'm sorry, we did not use foil. We used butcher paper to wrap instead of foil. So we also show you a different method than we would normally do. And like Sabrina said, we got these overhead shots that we can add to the videos now. And we're really just hoping to continue to level up the videos in every aspect. So it's just something that we're going to continue to try to do. Sorry, I can't talk apparently. But yeah, I mean, I was very happy with the brisket. Everybody loved it at Mom and Dad's, and then everybody loved it at work as well. We killed all that turkey, and we killed all that brisket, all that rice, everything the very next day after we ate it. So very, very successful cooks this week. We also plan on doing some burrito bowls that we're gonna cook up, and we have we'll be having that come out here pretty soon. It's just like a way to make Chipotle at home. Sabrina and I, when we find good fajitas at the store, we like to turn that into something good, because where we live, we don't always find the best fajitas. And when we find them,
like a meat market.
Yeah, and if you go to like Bawari, shout out Bawari, and you get their bavette, oh my Lanta, that stuff is incredible. But if you go, so it's hard sometimes to get there, because I get home from work late, and then we're going to just a local grocery store, and we don't always find the best stuff. But when we find good fajitas, man, we got to turn that into something. So be on the lookout for that here soon as well. And we do plan on releasing a restaurant review within the next week or so, couple of weeks for sure. So we're trying to fire on all cylinders. We're trying to do a lot of different videos right now. It's just, it still feels so much fun to create videos, and Sabrina and I still get a lot of fulfillment. We did drop the hats last week. I know we did drop the hats last week, and they're selling pretty well. If you guys are interested in a hat, man, go to the website, gulfcoastsmoke.com, and grab one of those. The smoke one, the upside-down smoke one, which was wildly popular, is back in stock as well, so you guys can go pick one of those up.
Yeah, I will say get them while you can. Because
seriously.
I'm not the type of person that's like, oh, we're just selling them like hotcakes, right? You know, but it's like I was very surprised. I know there was a lot of demand for the smoke hat to come back in stock, and then to see how fast it flies, especially with the new hat. You got people buying 2 or 3 hats at a time, so just get them while you can. And if we do sell out at some point and you guys are still interested, let us know, because if we know that there's a demand for these hats, we'll definitely restock them for you guys.
For sure. Yeah, no, and I think one of the things with it is sometimes when you decide that you're going to release some sort of merchandise like that, you really never know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for continuing to support what we're doing and just making it to where this is something that we can continue to do and try and turn this into something big. And we just really appreciate all of the love and all of the support. You know, I didn't really have a rant today, but I will say that every single day that we wake up, Sabrina and I, we're very, very grateful for the lives that we live. Whether GCS is involved in it or not, you know, we talk all the time about how incredible our children are and how much we love them and just how much fulfillment we get out of being their parents. Like specifically our 3 kids just bring us so much joy. And it's kind of crazy, right? Like I think about my legacy all the time. Like, what am I going to leave behind when I'm gone? You know, I hope it's in a long time. I hope it's many, many years from now, because I have a lot I want to do. I don't necessarily, it's not like accomplishment wise. It's just being a dad wise, being a husband wise, going on trips with you. You know, we've been married we've been together for almost 15 years. We've never, since we had children, we've never taken a one-on-one vacation away from the kids. And the reason that I'm kind of talking about this is because, you know, I sent you that post today, right? And it's like, you know, if you ever feel, and it was specifically about moms, if you ever feel tired, exhausted, like just nothing you do is working, man, that feeling usually only comes from parents that are very involved and they love their children very much. And the reason I wanted to kind of talk about it was because, and if you're struggling with anything, like if you feel like, well, this is not working for me, or that's not working for me, or I'm not accomplishing my goals. And I kind of bring that up because this week, Sabrina and I guess, we kind of failed at one of our goals, right? Which was to put out a video on Tuesday. And the truth is, I mean, I wasn't very happy about it, right? Because we try and stick to a schedule and we want to do this and we want to do that, and it kind of messes up this and it messes up that. But in reality, and Sabrina was great on kind of bringing me back to earth. It's like, hey, look, yes, these things are super important, right? We're trying to build this brand. We're trying to do things the right way. But at the same time, you also got to take care of you, right? Because I was really frustrated because I wanted to go golfing. I have this plan in my brain that I'm not going to talk about, but I got a plan in my brain that I have to do. And Sabrina knows, if you guys know me really well, you know that I'm pretty, like, if I want to do something, I'm kind of oddly dead set on it. So I have to do this, right? I wanted to go golf, and I wasn't going to be able to do it because I had to come over here to the office and do stuff. And I'm frustrated. I'm this, I'm that. But don't ever be afraid to take some time for you, whatever you got to do, or even if you just want to do something fun. Even if you want to just take, man, I'm going to take a couple days and reset, come back. And I think that that's important. And I think that, you know, we all have our days, good and bad, for sure. So don't be afraid to identify those days and just know when you need to do something for you. You know, like I said, Sabrina and I have these 3 kids that we love more than anything in the world. We would do anything for them as of right now, as of the second that you're listening to this. But Sabrina is her own human. She's her own person, her own human. Sabrina is her own, I was going to say it again. Sabrina is her own person, and so am I. And number one, we have to take care of us, right? So don't be afraid to remember that or admit that to yourself. You know, like even Sabrina was telling me, she's like, look, I'm your wife. Like, I'm here for you. You know, I know you're a man but man, you just had a bad day. It's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with having a bad day. When a lot of the times it really does feel like there is something very wrong with having a bad day, because I hold myself to a pretty high standard, and I wanted the video to be out. I wanted it, you know what I mean? I want to hit our schedule. We didn't put out a video last week. I wasn't very happy about that. You know, there's just so many things going on in our lives, but at the end of the day, I cannot stress to you enough. I woke up today. I'm sitting here right now talking to a camera about barbecue, and I'm sitting next to my wife. My children are safe on the other side of this door right here. I have zero complaints. At the end of the day, there is nothing that we cannot overcome, right? I feel like you put God first. You continue to strive to be a good person no matter what you do in your life, and you can and you will succeed. It might not be now. It might not be now, and that's the hardest part of this. But if you keep doing what you're doing and you keep to yourself, you keep God at the forefront, I really think that everybody can do exactly what they want. And that's hard for me, right? Because, I mean, Sabrina could tell you straight up. I mean, there's been many a times, even as of recent, and it's hard. I don't know how much longer I want to do this. When are we going to feel like we've made it? We've talked about this, right? We're never going to feel like that just knowing who we are. But I wanted to be a little vulnerable here, because I'm sure somebody, even if it's one human being that's listening to this right now, or that ever listens to this right now, has that feeling in your head, man, it's going to be okay. Continue to push forward. Do not give up. And you are going to get where you want to get. And I cannot stress this enough. As hard as it is, just continue to try doing the right thing. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you want to be mean to people. Sometimes you want to be rude to people. And it's not easy. And you got to bite your tongue. And I will say this, in the end, continue to push forward. Keep God at the forefront. And I think that you listening, I think Sabrina, I think myself, my children, my dad, my mom, everybody that I love, everybody Sabrina loves, and we can all reach and we can all do exactly what we want to do. So,
well, yeah, and I think and I told you this, the payout, no matter how hard you work, sometimes the payout isn't always going to be positive.
Sure.
No matter how kind you are to somebody, no matter how hard you work at something, sometimes the payout is not going to be what you want. It's not going to be good. Sometimes there's people that are going to be mad at you for when you didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to take some time to do the things that make you happy and do the things that you want to do, and not worry about, man, I need to get this video out for all of you, right? You all matter to us. Absolutely a lot, or else we wouldn't be sitting here doing this, right? Yeah. But there's also a lot of people on the other end as well who really don't even care about what we're doing and will not hesitate to ruin your day by telling you something bad, right?
Yeah.
About what you did when it was just a video.
Yeah.
So you have to take the time to give yourself that payout and not worry about getting it from everywhere else. So definitely take some time for yourself to do the things you want.
And that's another thing that I'll say, and I'll be flat out honest. You know, this week I was struggling. I was struggling with some comments on some videos that, man, felt very direct, and I mean, I didn't make me feel very good. I need to stop looking at those, number one. But number two, man, I mean, I'm a human being too, man. I mean, I'm not here in this life to try and upset anybody. I'm not here in this life to try and copy anybody or do anything or steal anything from anybody else. Man, all I ever try and do is wake up and think of ways that I can be a good son, which I fail at all the time, be a good husband, which I fail at all the time, be a good dad, which I fail at all the time, be a good business owner, which I fail at all the time, but I'm still constantly trying to think of ways that I can do those things better.
Right.
And I don't always succeed, and that's okay. Because again, tomorrow, God willing, I will wake up and I will get another opportunity to make my day better than it was today, to push my business further than it is today, closer to that finish line. And I fully believe that we can do this. And I fully appreciate everything that you guys are doing for us, buying the hats, continuing to run our products, continuing to watch the videos, continuing to listen to me, some random guy that lives in Portland, Texas, talk about things as if I'm some sort of guru, right? Which I'm not. The only reason I talk about them is because I feel like a lot of us go through the same exact things. Life ain't easy, but we can get through it. So I think I'm good there, and I'll end the episode with that. Do you got anything else to say?
No, I think that's it for today's episode.
That's it for today's episode. If you guys are watching us on YouTube today, it's a perfect opportunity to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're very close to 70,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And then it'll only be 30,000 more to reach our biggest and most, I don't want to say most important, but the one we want the most right now, milestone, 100,000. We'll get a plaque at that point. And I can't tell you how excited I would be to see that plaque with our YouTube channel on it.
Right here on the wall.
Right here on the wall. We'll put it right here on the wall. So if you guys haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. Or if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any of those platforms, man, share this with a friend. Maybe they need to hear some of the dumb stuff I say on this podcast. Or maybe they like listening to us talk about barbecue or whatever else, because you never know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
But if
it is all things everything.
It is all things everything. But if Sabrina's good, I'm good. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.